Hi, everybody. This is Amara, and I am really excited to be here. I am your spiritual tour guide for this evening, and welcome to the Money Manifestation. Okay, I am really excited to be here. I am your spiritual tour guide for this evening, and welcome to the Money Manifestation. Okay, had to kind of do a little technical stuff there because I am doing this, but that's okay. Welcome. I'm Amara, your spiritual tour guide, and I'm super excited to be here to share with you the money manifestation magic that I have been doing for the last few years. So I want to share a little bit about my story, which is that in the past, I had a story of struggle. My folks, my dad made some money, but he and my mom always spent more money than they had. And I kind of grew up in this household where nothing was really ever what it seemed, and we always seemed to be struggling. My mom used to have to borrow money from her friends, and we know my parents made a bunch of difficult decisions, which didn't work out very well for them. And my dad, who passed away at 94 in 2018, even though he had a bunch of really pretty high powered jobs, his last job was CFO of a university. He was living in subsidized senior housing, and he had some money, but it was, like he had a pension and Social Security, but he really didn't have any savings. And I know one of the things that he really wanted was to have a dog, and he couldn't really afford to have a dog because if something had happened to the dog, he wouldn't have the money for the vet bills. So that was something I kind of grew up with my whole life. And I had this whole money struggle story myself, where I had some low paying jobs and was always scrambling for money. And when my son was born, I went on WIC and on, charity care, medical insurance. And I just was always kind of struggling. That was kind of my story throughout my life, where I would have jobs and I would never, not have work, but I didn't have the money that I could use for feeling comfortable. I didn't have a lot of savings. I didn't, I was always living, paycheck to paycheck, and I wasn't really feeling safe in my world or comfortable. And then, to make it even more exciting for myself, I started my second business as a professional organizer when my son was 1 year old, so that I could leave my job, which I did have health insurance at, because I couldn't figure out how to deal with the daycare and that kind of stuff. So having your own business is kind of like an invitation to face all of your money challenges. And that was kind of what I did for years and years. And then at the beginning of the Great Pause, a couple years ago, I just kind of stepped out of this whole money story of being scared about money, about not having enough money, about the idea that I couldn't ever have more, make enough money, that if I made it, I got bills to spend, and like it just never accumulated. And I realized that I was on the salary of God, and or the payroll of God, if you're more to be more accurate. But I stopped being afraid.
And that's easier said than done, but I just stopped being afraid and allowed myself to, uh, just enjoy the space I was in, which was a space of rest, because as a professional organizer, I was not, still trying to figure this technology thing out, but as a professional organizer, I was not able to go into people's homes at the beginning of the pandemic. And so I was kind of like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I had a little bit of money in a IRA, because when I had my job that I had when my son was a baby working at a library, I had a little pension, and that I moved into an IRA and I hadn't touched it. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was thinking, oh my gosh, no one's going to let me into their home. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I took the money out of my IRA, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm ever going to pay this back. I think I might have to owe a penalty and some taxes, but I'm just going to do it. It's not enough money to retire on. But it's enough money to get me through if I can't work for a while. And then I started getting money from, pandemic relief. I got money, windfalls of money. People paid me old money that they owed me. Money just started coming in. And I sort of went, oh, I think I'm retired. I don't think I'm working anymore. I think I'm just retired. I used my retirement. I'm retired and I'm on the salary of God. And the money was just kind of like rolling in. I wasn't, what I would consider wealthy, but I certainly was comfortable. I didn't have to worry about it. And it was such a relief to not have to worry about it, because I've been worrying about money for like 20 years. And so I just kind of went, okay, well, let's see where this goes. Let me explore and allow whatever is happening with this money thing to be what it is. And I was, accepting whatever money I found. Whatever money came my way, I would accept it. If somebody wanted to pay me to do something, I would do it. If I, got a windfall of some money, great. If I found a nickel on the ground, I picked it up. And that was sort of the beginning of being where I am, which is I've now moved from my 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of a walk up to a beautiful townhouse I love. And I'm living with my family. My son is at college, which I am paying for, and it's going fine. And I never thought I would have the money for that. And I'm living with my boyfriend and his son, and I'm very happy, and things went really well. So I have kind of been playing around with the idea of sharing some of what I did to get to this place, which was a lot of self-work. Not that it was not fun. Some of it was pretty fun, but it was definitely some change over time that I did. So I want to share with you some of what I did. So I'm going to share my screen, and maybe. The first thing I want to talk about is, what exactly does prosperity mean to you? Because prosperity means different things to different people. It might mean what success is, and Arianna Huffington defines success as wealth, power, well-being, wisdom, and wonder. I think a lot of times prosperity means money to people, but to me personally, it means living with ease and with freedom. So that may or may not look like a ton of money to you, or it may, for me, it's about being comfortable and having all of my physical needs met all the time. So what I realized is that money is energy, and it's not inherently good or bad. It's what we intend with it. And I know I was talking to a friend the other day on the phone, and she was telling me that she was getting a divorce and that she needed to make some money because with her business, because she wasn't sure when she was going to get the money from the divorce. And she was feeling, kind of ambivalent about the money from the divorce. And so I asked her, well, does it matter where the money comes from as long as you get the money? Because I think sometimes we get ourselves into a place where we think we have to have a specific kind of money, like a paycheck from our job, and we're, then we get into this place of lack where we're like, why am I not getting a raise at my job? Why does this person who owe me money not pay me? So all of these things are kind of get in our heads, but money is energy. So it doesn't matter where the money is coming from. It's just coming to us. And money is also flow. So the thing about the universe is that the universe breathes. It's yin and yang. It's expansion and contraction. So it's like taking a breath in and letting a breath go. So if you, if you take a breath in and you hold it, you can't take any more breath in. But if you let it go, then you're making room for another in breath. So when we hold on really tightly to whatever we have, it is much less likely that more can come in because we're holding our breath. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about what that breath holding is kind of about. So we as humans don't really love change. We like things that are predictable. We like to have our situations usually be pretty orderly and predictable. We will often try to control something by holding on tight so that nothing becomes chaotic. We don't really like chaos. And that's fine. But that fear of change, of not having enough, of not having, not having safety, when we try to control it, that is setting up a situation of lack. And when we can get out of our own ego's way and let love in, which is energy, which is the breath of the universe, which is money, which is prosperity and abundance. It's also good health and exciting things to do. It's all of those things. When we can allow that to come to us, then we are getting out of the way of fear, because it sounds like an oversimplification, but things are either motivated by love or they're motivated by fear. And they're basically kind of opposites. So when we're really afraid, we are not allowing love in. We're holding ourselves back. We're separating ourselves from the possibility of love coming in. And when that energetic love can come to us, then we're in what I call universal flow, because we're allowing the love to come in and to go out, not get stuck. We're like a channel for that love and for that energy. And when the channel is open, then the stuff comes to us that we need, and the stuff we no longer need goes. So we can just kind of allow that to go. But as soon as we start stepping into fear, it blocks the love. It blocks our ability to receive. So no shame, no blame. We all do that. And that's part of what we're hardwired to do because of how our brains work. So our brains tell us, you know, our lizard brains tell us, oh, there might be a saber-toothed tiger that's hiding behind a rock. You better be careful. You better be safe. I'll never forget that when my son was little, we'd go over to grandpa's house, and my son was always very careful. He was always super cautious. And grandpa would say, be careful, slow down. And I would say, don't tell him that. He already does that. Tell him to speed up and stop being careful, because he didn't need more caution. Now, we all need balance, right? We all need balance between the inflow and the outflow, between the caution and the freedom. So, but we don't want to get stuck in the fear. We want to allow it to, if we feel fear, we feel it and we let it pass through. It's kind of like that old saw, feel the fear and do it anyway. So when we can do that and allow the love to come through us, we get to the place of safety. We think that we can control our place of safety with all of our plans and machinations, but the place of safety is really from giving up that control, because the universe wants to shower us with blessings. It is abundant and strangely accommodating, and has a plan for us that we don't necessarily know or see. We can't see the big picture. We can only see what's in our little place, and we don't know how all of the pieces are going to come to us. So although we might decide that, you know, this thing has to happen this way on this day, that may not be the best way or day for that thing to happen, or for something even better to happen. Because sometimes we, often probably, we say we don't shoot high enough. We cut ourselves off. We go, oh, I don't deserve that thing. I only deserve this amount, not this amount. And that's super hard for a lot of people to come to a place where we can just, you know, accept and receive whatever is coming to us, even if it's a lot. You know, that's a place that we have to get with inside of ourselves. So I want to talk a little bit about the law of attraction. Law of attraction has several names, and it's based on some really old principles. So I'm going to go back as far as the Talmud, which is an ancient Jewish book and teaching. So, which says, we do not see things as they are, we see them as we are. So the law of attraction, which can also be called the law of similarity or the principle of correspondence, it's basically like produces like. And that's kind of basically that the effect resembles the cause. So when we get to a place of feeling abundant, of feeling worthy of abundance, of feeling wealthy, prosperous, safe, comfortable, then that is what we bring to us. But when we've had a lifetime of struggle and not feeling safe and not feeling wealthy, it's hard to get to the place where we believe that that's actually coming to us, that we deserve that, and that that it will come to us. We don't know how to do that. You know, people who grow up in wealthy families expect that they will also be wealthy. They expect that that will come to them. That's the mindset they're starting with. When you don't grow up like that, or when you've had a lot of experience of poverty or difficulty or financial stress, then what you are drawing to is more of that, because that's what you expect. That's your reality. So it's some of the things that we might do to change that are what I would consider magical. And that's a way that we can identify what it is that we are wanting, focus on it, and then allow it to come to us. So that's the law of attraction. But the law of attraction is also about making yourself be the magnet, making yourself be the same as the level of whatever it is that you want to come to you. So the focus part can be done through meditation and or through, what I might even call superstition, a way that we start trying to convince ourselves to believe that this is what we deserve. But as soon as we get to a place of lack, and when we speak about not having something, that's a place of lack, or of wanting something that we don't have, that's a place of lack. And then we're replicating that place of lack. It takes some training of our minds to get away from that place, to get to a place where we are the change we want to see in the world. We are abundance. We are wealthy. We are prosperous already. And it may not be that the world would see us that way, but we need to get to a place where we see ourselves that way. So I'm going to go and share my screen again. And talk about the field of infinite possibilities. So we are an energy field. We're connected with everyone and everything else in the universe. We are that energy field. So it's the field of infinite possibilities. And this really has to do with quantum physics, but I'm not going to go deeply into that right now. Just saying that when we are not holding on to a specific idea of what prosperity needs to be for us, not a number in the bank or a certain amount of objects or jobs or something like that, we are in the field of possibility. So you can either have something be in the field of possibility and then it's a wave, or you can have it be decided and real and solid, and then it's a particle. So when we're in the field of the wave, where we don't know yet what the thing is, but we're open to the possibilities, that's the place of maximal potential of when we're drawing in what it is that will eventually be the solid object. So an example of this is if you say to yourself, I want a $16 an hour raise from my current employer that's going to start in 3 months, and I'll see it in my paycheck. That's very specific. And that's fine. But what you've done is you've closed yourself off from all of the other possible options that the universe has for you, all of the potentialities, all of the possibilities. So that could happen, but you now are not open, you're not aware, you're not paying attention to the possibility that you might get a $20 an hour raise from some other employer at some different time, which is okay. But you not allowing the universe to bring you the potential, the possibility you close yourself off in that space. So I want to talk a minute about a story. I was very nervous a number of years ago because I had a client that owed me $1,681.30. And I'm saying this number specifically for a reason. So 1681.30. And I kept thinking, okay, I really want the client to pay me. They owe me this money. I need this money. It's a lot of money. I don't, like that's more than my rent. I need to get that money. And I called them and I, emailed them, and they kept saying, oh yeah, checks in mail, checks in mail, checks in mail. And I was very nervous about it. And then I received a tax refund. And when I added up all my tax refund, which was, I added the federal plus the state minus what I paid my accountant to do the taxes, I realized that I had received $1,681 in tax refunds. And oh, well, that's interesting. It's a kind of weird number, a coincidence. But I still want the money from my client. So I continued to kind of want that money. And then I received another request for work from a different client, and they paid me $1,680. And I was like, okay, that's a pretty big coincidence. I guess maybe I'm just going to let it go, whatever. Yes, this other client owed me money, but perhaps it doesn't matter. And I'll just accept that it is the way it is, and I'm not going to get the money, and that's okay. And then I received the check from the client who owed me money, $1,681.30. So I kind of got the message at that point that the universe was saying, okay, shut up. It's okay. You don't need to fret about this. It's all good. So basically, we create what we believe. So if we can change our thoughts, we can change our life. And that's easier said than done, because we have the same thoughts every day, pretty much. 80% of our thoughts every day are negative, and 95% of them are the same thoughts that we had the day before. So we are we are in a place where we just have the ability to do whatever we've got. I'm checking in the chat, and I see that there's some comments. So thank you so much for commenting. Yes, rewards also feel better if you need to do something to achieve them. That can be a game we can play to get that. And quantum entanglement is hard to explain. Yes, thank you. It is definitely hard to explain. Almost went into the Schrodinger's cat thing, but I think we can just keep going. So when we're an energy field and we're connected to everything else and everyone else in the universe, we are one mind, and we are able to have miracles happen. Miracles happen, and they can happen daily. And when they happen, we can start, actually even taking them for granted. We may not notice them. And that, I think, is a big part of how we change these thoughts, by starting to notice them. So if we're caught up in the idea that we only have 5% new thoughts from day to day, and there's a good chance that they're going to be negative, we have to kind of change that. Now, we could have a whole bunch of new thoughts if we trained our minds to do that, But typically we don't. We just have the same thoughts we had the day before. Oh, I don't like this body part, or, oh, I'm tired, or, oh, I never have enough money. We have this kind of story running in our heads, and we don't always know how to change that. And that takes some mental calisthenics. We need to train the muscle of our mind to be different than it is. And our minds are, especially our egos, are very tricky, and that they want us, the ego wants us to kind of stay in a safe place. That's its job. Its job is to keep us safe, to not have the saber-toothed tiger get us. But first of all, there aren't any more saber-toothed tigers. And secondly, the ego has taken this kind of giant place in our lives. It's important, it has to be there, but it doesn't need to take up 80% of our thoughts. And that's kind of what ends up happening when we're very negative, because it's trying to keep us safe and in the same place. Because where we are, we know we're safe. If we weren't safe, we would have run away. But right now, where we are, it feels safe to us, even though it may not actually be the most comfortable place to be. So in this energy field, we are connected to everybody else. And when we become more aware of that connection, of our place in the bigger thing, of the whole of the fabric of time, that then miracles start to happen. So I was talking to another friend at a different time, and she was saying she was nervous about getting some dental work, and she wanted some help thinking that through. And so we talked about it, and she also didn't know how she was going to pay for the dental work. So we kind of talked about that for a little bit, and she felt better. And she said, Amara, I'd really love to pay you for this advice, but I don't have any money, so I can't do that. And I said, oh, you did. You paid me. I got a check this morning for $316 from 2 years ago from some health insurance rebate. So thank you for paying me $316 for this advice, because it doesn't matter where the money comes from. It doesn't matter that it came from my friend. It doesn't matter that it came from Blue Cross Blue Shield. It doesn't matter that I found, a $20 bill on the ground. That's all the same energy. And if we all think of ourselves as connected, then that money that's coming to us, it doesn't matter where it came from. It doesn't matter that my friend paid me, I got paid, and that's just fine. I don't mind when people pay me for work that I do, but I also don't mind if they don't, because I live in a gift economy. I'm on the salary of God, and the money will come to me in one way or another. And I trust that it will. So the next point I want to make is that whatever we focus on expands. So if we spend a lot of time focusing on the glass being half empty, we're going to notice the glass half empty all the time. We program our minds to see what we want to see. So if there's something like 100,000 bits of information available to us at any given moment, and our brains, which are pretty amazing, can only absorb about 2,000 bits per minute. And so we have to have some method of figuring out what's important to us. So our brains tell us, these are the things that are interesting to me. So if you're shopping for a new car, for instance, then, if you decide you're interested in finding, a yellow Dodge Dart, then all of a sudden you see everywhere yellow Dodge Darts, because you've told your brain that that's what's important to you. The good thing is that we can change our neural pathways, the way our brain thinks, by helping to steer it in a different direction. So if our story is one of lack, we can change that story and reprogram our brains. And part of the reason that I'm sharing this is because I have a program starting that's called the Passport to Prosperity that will help you train your brain to think differently and to view the world in a more abundant and miraculous way. So I'll tell you guys a little bit more about that in a bit. So whatever we focus on expands. The more we allow and focus and allow the universe to provide for us, the more it does. And the more that we allow the ever expanding nature of the universe to send us things, which does not take away from other people also getting things, because there is an unlimited quantity of what is abundant in our solar system, in our universe, then those things will keep coming to us. So we have to just kind of be open to that. So although I've been doing all of this practice and mindset training over the last few years, when it came time for my son to go to college this year, I was a little nervous because although he got a lot of scholarship money, I still had to come up with a bunch of money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money to cover all 4 years because it's just a lot of money. And I'm like, oh my, how am I going to do this? It seemed like sure, I can manifest $1,681, but this is tens of thousands of dollars. How am I going to do that? And I started getting into this very nervous place, filling out the FAFSA. I was like having a panic attack. I had to do it in like 3 different tries. And, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm back in my same money story. And then my sister called me up and said, hey, by the way, I have this extra $8,000 that is left over from our brother who's died's estate after we buried him. And I think he'd want your son to have, his nephew to have the money for college. And I was like, I do not have to worry about this. It's just going to come. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's just going to come. And, and so far that's been working out. So every time I go to that place, and it's my pattern to go back to say, oh my God, how am I going to do this? It's like, oh, right. I need to just remember that it's all already handled. It's just already handled and it's going to be fine. But it does take some repetitive training of your mind. I don't want to say work because it's not exactly work. It's not, something that's difficult or unpleasant. It can actually be sort of fun to do the training, but it does take some of that in order to change the habit that we have got ourselves into of seeing the world in a certain way and seeing ourselves in a certain way. Because when we believe something about ourselves, that's when we have trouble believing that the world is showering us with blessings. So I'm just gonna check the chat again. Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite authors, Pam Grout, who's written a whole bunch of books and has a practice where she says every morning, something amazingly awesome is going to happen to me today. This is kind of an affirmation, but it's also an expectation. So we talked about the yellow Dodge Dart. When you are expecting to have something amazingly awesome happen to you in a day, then you're telling your brain to look for that amazingly awesome thing. And because she's not really specifying what that is, then your brain is kind of going, oh, is this the most awesome thing? Is this the amazingly awesome thing? Maybe I'm still waiting for the amazingly awesome thing. And it gives you the opportunity to always be on the lookout for the cool thing that's coming to you. And you can sort of be expecting a cool thing around the corner. So I want to talk a little bit about gratitude, because part of having the glass half full is to begin to notice all the blessings that we already have, to be grateful, to, even when you get something you don't really want, to be grateful for it, because it may or may not be the thing that you want, but the universe is sending you things. And I like to think about this as the universe like a puppy. So the puppy really wants to please you, and it'll go off and go find something like a liver flavored bone and bring it to you because it thinks, oh my gosh, everyone would want a liver flavored bone. You must want this, and I want to please you. So it gives you the liver flavored bone, and you go, wow, that is disgusting. I don't want a liver flavored bone. Why wouldn't you know what I really want? Well, so the puppy doesn't care that, the puppy's like, oh, you didn't want the liver flavored bone? Sure, I'll go back and find another thing. So eventually you might get the, whatever it is that you want, the piece of vanilla cake, which might be a little bit soggy after the puppy brings it to you. But, the more grateful you can be, oh my gosh, this vanilla cake is fantastic. Even, like, who cares that it's soggy? It'll be soggy anyway, because I'll be eating it. You can kind of get yourself to a place where you're not so expectant that everything has to be exactly the way you want it to be. It's okay to say no to the stuff you don't want, but the more grateful you can be, even if it is stuff you don't want, the better. So I want to share a practice I have. This is a gratitude jar. There's lots of ways of using a gratitude jar. I put all kinds of things in it that sort of cheer me up and I like, but you can also put things that you're grateful in it. So I'm going to pick my little gratitude here and read it. And I usually pick one a day. And this one is by Albert Camus. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. So that's pretty exciting to me, to be that free. And I hope that it is for you too. So can you imagine what would happen if we could have more positive thoughts, be grateful for more things, and think of more than 5% new thoughts in a day? Can you imagine what our world would be like? I think it would be pretty awesome. So I guess I would like to share just a couple more things, and then I'll let you go for the day. But the more fun you can have, the better it is in your life, because we, as beings of light, beings of energy, our vibrations raise the more fun and joy we have. So stop making yourself do stuff you don't like doing and be happier. So I have my son's dad came up with this idea. Maybe I could get to it. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, try this again. It is, I hope this is going to come up now. So the more fun you have, the better. And so you can do the abundance dance. So and he's a musician, and he has like a whole song that goes with the abundance. Do abundance. And so if you can dance around and raise your energy and be happy, or whatever makes you happy. If you hate dancing, do something else. I really like roller skating, so I like to do that. So the more you play and enjoy and bring joy in, the more you are raising your energy and your ability to attract goodness into your life. So I promised that I would share the program that I'm creating. It's Passport to Prosperity. It's a 40-day journey to abundant paradise. The way to sign up for it is this URL, bookme.name/mind-body-spirit-home/wealth. And it's going to be a self-directed 40-day program. Every day there will be a video and a quote and a little thing to read and a practice. It takes about 30 minutes a day, kind of like a spiritual practice or a meditation. And my hope is that because it takes somewhere between 20 and 40 days to change a habit, that doing this program every day, you'll be able to change your mindset and have a different way of looking at the world and bringing in the money and joy and abundance that you truly deserve. So thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you learned something. I hope you can take some things away. And I would love to see you in the program. So if you would like to get in touch with me to ask any questions, if you want to know anything else, here is my contact information. I'm at www.amarawiley.com. My Book Me site, you can book a 30-minute discovery call if you want to talk to me. Of course, my YouTube channel is Amara Willey, and please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and to like my videos. And I have a possibility posse that meets twice a month on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. For those of you who don't work on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you would like to join the Facebook group, you can get information. I also post things in that Facebook group, which helps with coming up with possibilities. So I hope to see you in some of the things that I'm doing. I love you. Many blessings. And I'm just going to check the chat one more time to see if there's any more comments. And I really appreciate you joining me. So have a fantastic week. I hope that miracles shower you and that you have much joy.